Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Michael's here. We're just waiting on Steve, but I talked to him. He said he would be here.
Good. In other words, he's not having to plow snow or ice or anything ugly. So
No, and he was making sure to walk Olaf ahead of the meeting, so he'll be
what
good.
is Olaf? A dog, obviously.
Yeah.
What kind of a dog?
I'm not. It's kind. I can't tell you. I'll have to ask.
Big or little?
He's kind of. He's kind of small, and he's very fast. And he's very friendly, but a little skittish.
Okay. But Olaf, I figured he was from Elsa and the ice, whatever it was, the Disney ice thing.
Yeah, I bet you he keyed right into that, I bet.
Probably. Oh, yeah, appropriate. For somebody who plows snow, very appropriate.
Yes, waiting for the snow queen.
Yeah, exactly.
Debbie, thank you so much for coming during vacation.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I'm very impressed with the way you write. Everything I see, I love.
Oh, really? Thanks.
Yeah, because you've done a lot of good analysis to get to where you are.
Oh, thanks. It was a big,
Because-
it was a pretty significant effort, but it was.
Oh,
it
I'm
was-
sure.
It was actually enlightening, really.
I bet it was, because we have no idea what's going on in other schools. Oh, Jackie's coming too.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
That sunburn looks good on you.
Wow. That's not
Jackie, where are you? If you're getting sunburn, where are you? Oop. You're muted.
I'm in North Carolina at my sister-in-law's house, and I'm
Ah.
using my phone, so don't have the tools on me like a computer.
So you have a very thin profile at the moment, courtesy of the
There
phone.
you go.
That's a
There
good
were
way of doing it.
There were snowflakes today, Jackie. Do you
Yes,
miss
that's
it?
what I've heard.
I'm
Oh,
glad you didn't
wow.
tell me.
Did you see any of them, Kristen? Or yeah, ooh,
Yes, when I was leaving town, they were coming down a little bit. Then
I'm
as soon as
not
I crossed
surprised.
the line into another county, it was 10 degrees warmer and the sun was out. So
Oh, do we know that? Up here, it can be 10 degrees colder than everywhere, including Amherst.
Yep. In the summertime, I'm always really happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in the winter, ...
Exactly. Yep.
You know, when we get 18 inches of snow and everyone else gets 2, it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, for real. Well, and then we have the issue where, Amherst doesn't want to necessarily delay or cancel when we do, and it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's awfully hard because the decisions have to be made so early
So early, yeah.
or the day before. And it's hard because you never know how accurate they are this time around.
Right. But the fact is too, though, that Amherst, they don't necessarily understand our dirt roads and how the kids on those dirt roads have it, it's not easy. So.
No. Of
and
course.
how we continually have to go save stuck buses. Yeah.
Or highway trucks.
Yes, or highway.
Speaking of highway trucks, come on, Steve, hurry up.
I just texted him again. I know he's coming, so
I
sometimes
know
he
he is
just
too. Now it's just that I have a meeting to get to after this.
not to worry. We'll get you
I know.
before 6:30.
There he is.
Oh, there's Steve.
There he is.
Hi,
There goes
Steve.
who goes incognito, calling himself Shannon's dad. Hello, Michael. Good. Thank you for coming.
No, you're welcome.
After your long trip today, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Where did you go today or come back from today?
I came back from Brooklyn, but
Driving, I assume.
yes,
Ugh, that can be an awful drive.
yes. Wasn't too bad today, but
You're lucky.
yeah.
Okay, then. Since we have a quorum, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Okay, Michael, you're taking notes, I assume?
I am
Minutes?
taking notes, yes. Speaking of which, can we approve last time's meeting so I can make it official? I mean, minutes so
Sure.
I can make it official.
Okay, does anyone have a motion pertaining to the minutes of the last meeting?
I move that we approve the minutes from last meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's do a roll call. McKay, yes.
Fraud, yes.
Sullivan, yes.
Okay, we're all set. It's now you can submit them.
Right.
Now, tonight, we're going to be talking about a security system for the elementary school, and goodness knows in this day and age, we all should have security systems because it's getting really scary out here anywhere. So, and we are very pleased to have both Jackie, the principal of the school, and Debbie Lee, who actually did the evaluation and looked at possibilities. And I'm going to turn it over to Debbie and tell us about it.
Okay, thank you. So we started the process by speaking with other local area schools. Two sources of information are generally for us, the Collaboratives PLC Forum, Technology Forum, as well as the Mass Tech Directors Forum. And our purpose was just to kind of get a sense of the lay of the land. And actually through this process, I didn't realize we are quite late to coming to installing a camera system. I don't know, I just accepted what we had and, as is, and didn't realize that so many other schools had systems in place for even over 10 years. And so as a result of that work, we discovered that systems that were implemented some time ago were generally on what's called on-premise solutions. I don't know how much detail you want me to give you, but that essentially means that you've got a server and all of the equipment on the building, at the premise for the building. And then what we started noticing is that as new schools are looking at brand new installations, they're generally looking at a system that's referred to as cloud-based or hosted. So that means that there's less equipment at the building, which then implies several things. There's less outright purchases, but also the systems will actually scale as changes develop over the years. I noticed that in my conversations with other schools that, and it makes sense, that once you have a system in place, the most cost-effective approach is just to swap out the pieces that are old or broken and then just fix the parts that are there so that the whole system continues to work. So that from a financial perspective, I was understanding why most of the schools then are on premise. I also started looking at some of the history of the technological changes of security camera systems over the course of 20 years or so. And I noticed that although IP cameras, those are cameras that can work with the internet, were, out and about within 10 years, the technology that you need to really support cloud-based systems really was only developing over the recent years, 4 to 6 years. And that's because we had to wait for improvements and maturity in terms of storage and analytics. If we look at Shutesbury, we only received fiber to the town with it just in time, thankfully, just in time before we were all remote for a while there. But even bandwidth capability is
Mhm.
also a component that really makes us to be ready for a cloud-based system. So as a result of kind of just thinking about what we were seeing and really just thinking about what was going to be best for our school, and not just now, but also to hedge against the future, we chose and decided that we really needed to implement a cloud-based solution. And so that was the first piece, really defining that that was the right way to go. So as a result of that, we then started to look at different cloud-based system options. And the one that we selected is a product called Avigilon Alta. It's actually owned by Motorola. And the number one piece that made that system really appealing was its cybersecurity. And what that essentially means is that we wanted to make sure that the system and all components of the system, whether it's production, software, even manufacturing, and where they're sourcing their product, is really tight. And that's what that ISO 27001 accreditation is about. It means that they brought in a third-party vendor to actually analyze their whole process. And that was pretty impressive, actually. The other thing we were noticing is that the software analytics, that's basically the piece of, well, how quickly, how well can we scan through the video and identify infractions or things of concern. And so those pieces were there. We also like the fact that they're under a 10-year warranty. So that's very good. And then what I was concerned about too was to make sure that in the event we had a unusual interruption with internet, we can still record as long as there's power to the cameras. And that's, I thought, was pretty important. I also like the fact that this solution will allow for integration of other types of products. There was another system which was really very tight. Meaning you couldn't, it's either them or nothing. And I just don't feel that that's a healthy situation for us to be locked into. So as a result of identifying the solution, we then had a conversation, we meaning the safety committee, met with an Avigilon representative to really plan a design that we felt was going to be comprehensive and protect the school. We came up with a preliminary design of 14 cameras to comprehensively cover all of the grounds, the entryways, all three, right, Jackie? Three, and then the main hallways, all main corridors. And we also included a license plate recognition capability. That's a specialized camera that has the ability to actually interpret a plate. So right now we have an RFP out and 4 vendors will be coming on site next Monday to do a walkthrough because they really need to look at what we have, what we're looking for, and also plan for wiring, which is really a significant cost to our initial installation. And then after Monday, all quotes are due to us by Friday at 10. So right now, we don't have quotes to share as pricing. So what we did was we just did the math in terms of MSRP pricing for the 14 cameras plus cabling, and that's a rough estimate of $52,000. And with possible ongoing, well, not, and then the subscription costs thereafter would be $3,000. And that's.
And I just wanted to say a few quick things to piggyback on Debbie. First of all, I just wanted to publicly thank Debbie and Matt Foster, who are 2 crucial parts of our safety committee team for, the committee identified 2 tasks at the beginning of this year. The first task was to replace our telephones that were not working, which we did do. We just finished that at the end of February. And then the safety committee's next task was to really get a move on getting in some sort of a security system at the school. As we all know, in this day and age, it's pretty terrifying that we do not have one at the school. It's crucial. And, Chief Kristen is on this meeting to support it because both Chief Kristen and Chief Lenny, that's what we call them at the school.
Okay.
they both were pretty horrified at, at the fact that we didn't have them, because they're both somewhat new to our safety committee. And, we had it on our list to accomplish before COVID, and then COVID happened. And then we just needed to figure out how to educate the children in different ways. And now that we're finally kind of back in the groove, school violence is happening, every week, unfortunately. It has bubbled up to a very big need. And I'm not going to talk much more. I can certainly answer questions, but I did just want to say, I appreciate you putting this meeting on to hear this. We're usually come to you sooner for these things, but we did want to accomplish the telephones because that was also crucial. And then, I don't feel as the principal of the building that I can wait a whole nother year before I have a safety system in there for the staff and students and community. And so that's why I just want to thank you for putting this meeting on the books and listening to us. And, Debbie is amazing. She and Matt met with many different types of companies before they came up with this idea. And now it's out to bid, as you know, and she talked about the 4 vendors coming in, which that this committee could certainly be a part of that process if they wanted to. But I'm going to stop talking. And if Chief Kristen wants to say a few things, that's great. But if not, we're ready for questions or anything else.
Kristen, do you have anything to say? I'm sure you do.
Yes, thank you. I just want to add to what Jackie was saying. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Debbie as well. And all the work that she does. It's amazing. But what I want to say is, Jackie emphasized that there is a need for this in the day and age we're in. And I just want everyone to know, anyone I speak to about this, it's almost more than a need at this point. God forbid something happens at our school, and all schools in the past and all entities that have had violence in some fashion have all said every single time, I never thought this would happen to us. At this juncture in where we are in the world of protecting our children and having to go to these lengths to do so, if we do not get these in place, and God forbid something happens, the town is absolutely liable at that point. The question will be, why didn't you take the proper precautions to try to remedy this situation? And that is because we're so not caught up with, lots of other schools at this point. They've set the standard. And so I just want to back Jackie in saying, I too do not want to wait, another year to see this happen. I believe that we're at a great place right now to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Anyone else? Any of the committee have questions?
Just what was that estimate again?
52,000.
52,000. Okay, that's what I thought.
And that's a guesstimate. So I think when we talk about it, we're going to have to think a little higher just in case, it ends up higher. I was just sitting here thinking, I assume that on the system, there is some kind of a way to keep it from being hijacked, by bad parties who come in and like to take over computers and take over government and all that.
Yes, and that's what, and that was the cybersecurity piece that was super important to me too.
Okay.
I even thought about, I hadn't thought about it until I was looking at them, but if you steal the camera, which is storing the data, does that mean that we're exposed? But even that is encrypted. And that's one of the things that I was really impressed with in terms of the way they really thought about it. And then, of course, when we do a nightly backup to the cloud, that also is encrypted as well. It was the multiple levels of encryption that was pretty impressive to me.
That was Debbie's number one thing, was the security, and she checked all the different companies we were looking at. She checked, has there been a breach in the past few years? And if there had been, she was like, no, we're not going with you. So that was her number one goal to look at.
We also believe that, so Motorola, it's interesting because we also think that Motorola, because it's backed by a really large company. It's got the resources. But if you look at their business model too, it's not just security cameras, but they're actually growing a bigger concept of security, including access controls and other aspects of security, which I didn't really look at because we're not needing that at the moment. But just knowing that the capacity to grow if we need to exists is also important.
Very good. Anything else? Becky, do you have anything to say?
I'm just happy that everyone could come together today.
So am I. I'm thrilled. Okay, then. Well, then, yes, Steve, I see the hand waving. What was he
Yes,
saying?
I understand that violence is in the forefront of most people's thoughts, but my concern coming from the daycare world and then running the after-school program at the school, it's the non-custodial parent. That was
Mhm.
always my biggest fear, was that was going to happen. Not so much, but yes, violence can happen, but my thing was the non-custodial parent coming in or at recess and just grabbing and going.
Right,
I
Steve,
agree
and
with you.
we always go to the extreme to, really place the gravity of what could possibly happen. But I'm with you on that. And we have had a couple of concerns, at least in my time here. I think I've been here 3.5 years now.
Time flies.
Many more to go, but Jackie, I think we've had at least 3 different concerns in that exact scenario, where nothing has happened. Jackie's been able to get a hold of one of us, and we've been able to be there one time, really intervene with something. But yeah, that is a very good point. And I think with the ability to have the system also, this sometimes upsets people for privacy purposes, but to read the plates, it's important, because if something happens, we want to be able to locate people. So,
Well,
I agree.
we've also had damage to our property over the past
Yeah.
few years, after hours, including our backfield, and this is also something that would support us in figuring out any sort of vandalism.
Yeah, cameras.
know,
We have a camera at Town Hall. Debbie Lee, you helped me purchase it. Originally, it was used on the boiler. And then when the Black Lives Banner sign went up, I put it in the window after we had a couple threats. It's not connected to anything, but it's working really well. But it did make people think twice for a while, and it was working for a number of months originally. So I think they have an impact. Keep people safe.
very good. Okay, any more discussion from the members of the board of the committee? No? Okay, then. Could I have a motion?
What is the motion? What is
The motion would be to recommend to the finance committee that we endorse the purchase of this system. And I would say probably 60,000, no more than 60,000, since we don't know if 52 is going to be enough. I hate it when we have to kind of guess, because, and then it's if a bid is accepted, then we'll know exactly when we get to town meeting.
Right. Yeah, that was, I guess, my concern is that we don't have a number, but if we can, if everybody's
Yeah,
happy,
but
60,000.
If we do an up to, and then after Friday next week, we may be able to change it to a firm number. So
I'll move that we accept that we recommend to the finance committee that this system be purchased up to $60,000.
I'll second that.
okay. Now I'll go through the formal process. Is there any discussion? Okay, if there aren't, let's do a roll call. McKay, aye.
Broad eye.
Sullivan, I.
Okay, thank you. We're all set. A very good piece. This makes it so easy. Both Jackie and Debbie, when something comes in like this, it's just so easy. We don't have to hassle anything because it's right there. And your write-up was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
And at this point, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And the next step will,
Second.
Go ahead,
this will
Becky.
be forwarded to the finance committee, just so
Oh,
you guys.
one thing, Becky, I noticed that there's a capital planning meeting posted for tomorrow night too.
Yeah,
I just couldn't stop. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
noticed it
assuming that
too.
That's
So
not gonna happen.
luckily, yeah, I had the 20th and 21st mixed up, so I'll go I thought I canceled it. I
I
believe
don't
it's,
know,
It was
at
still on the
5 o'clock,
calendar.
it was still there,
it
but
stays on the calendar, but even when it's canceled, it just says canceled on it. But I'll double check.
Yeah, good thing because I forgot tomorrow night. Anyway. Okay, well, thank you all for coming and have a good evening.
bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.